Critical fire danger continues this evening, and we're tracking ongoing wildfires because of it.
Yeah, 2 weeks before school starts. Yeah, so that really gives people, a couple weeks to make big life choices.
Families in Spirit Lake have to find a new way to get their kids to school after bus service is canceled.
Sometimes accidents happen and somebody is taken from us in a way that you just can't anticipate.
5 days after a Spokane County Sheriff sergeant was hit and killed on I-90, the Sheriff's Office breaks down how it's dealing with the tragic loss and how you can help support the sergeant's family. Good evening and thank you for joining us for KREM 2 News at 5 tonight. I'm Mark Hanrahan. A brush fire has broken out near East Mission and North Green Street in Spokane. Here is a live look at the scene right now. Outside, our KREM 2 reporter Connor McAvoy is at the scene. Authorities have not yet reported how this fire started. There are no evacuations in place due to the fire, but we will continue to monitor and bring you any updates as they happen. Meantime, in North Idaho this evening, level 3 go now evacuations are in place for a fire in Athol. Authorities say residents from the 2200 block of Sunset Road to the northeast of that location, along with residents on Little Blacktail, are requested to evacuate immediately. Any side streets in that area of Little Blacktail and Crosswhite should also be able to leave at any moment. Sagal Elementary School will be the evacuation site for folks in that area. And check our website for the latest updates on this one as well. Meantime, a third fire is burning in Whitman County that sparked just hours ago and has shut down both directions of State Route 127. It is being called the Central Ferry Fire. The area between State Route 127 and Lake Bryan is currently under level 2 get set evacuation orders. That's about 30 miles west of Pullman. That means if you live there, you should be ready to evacuate at a moment's notice. Right now, the Washington State Fire Marshal's office reports the fire is sitting at about 600 acres in size. On that note, we want to get right to weather and Chief Meteorologist Jeremy the Good. Jeremy, no surprise, red flag warnings today because of the wind and the dry conditions.
Mark, it's one of those ones where we often talk about these fire weather days. Hot, dry, windy conditions, and that little bit of a change, just adding the wind to the past few, has given us quite a few new wildfires that are growing rapidly. Unfortunately, this is what we don't want. This is just worst case scenario for us. Temperatures sit at 90 degrees with wind out of the west-southwest at 28 miles per hour, gusting over 35 here in town. 16% is where our relative humidity sits. That just means that any single spark or ember stays lit a lot longer than it otherwise would. The heat makes it easy for those fires to burn more aggressively. And then when you factor in the wind that you can hear in my microphone, that spreads those fires. Air quality sits at a moderate with those fires burning around us. All of our smoke earlier today came from the Bear Gulch fire all the way out in the Olympic Peninsula. That smoke has since dissipated, but we have multiple other fires burning all around us. So it's just one of those things where we're going to continue to battle that. When it comes to our wind, it is still blowing. It's kind of incredible how fast the wind's been blowing and still going to blow for the next few hours. I don't think until after 9 p.m. do we see any relief, and we hang on to the gustiness of this wind overnight and into early tomorrow morning. Red flag warnings last through 9 p.m. Next couple of days wind up cooler and eventually cloudier before the chance of rain returns Friday night.
All right, sounds good, Jeremy. We'll check back in with you later in the show tonight. Our other top story tonight, students in one North Idaho town are just days away from going back to school, but now forced to figure out how to get there. Lakeland School District is making up some budget cuts by cutting some bus routes. KREM 2 Shannon Mowdy is in Spirit Lake tonight.
Some Spirit Lake families first noticed the issue when they tried to register their kids for the bus, like Sandy Johnson.
And the registration, I thought there maybe was a glitch in the system because it didn't have his original bus stop listed.
She says she called the district. A week later, they called back to tell her Spirit Lake is now without buses.
Yeah, 2 weeks before school starts. Yeah, so that really gives people, a couple weeks to make big life choices for their family.
Lakeland School District put out this letter announcing it eliminated 8 bus routes. Some stops will consolidate, others are gone entirely. All students living in Spirit Lake will have to walk. because they're within 1.5 miles of each school. That includes Johnson's 10-year-old.
All the way down, and he would have to walk down the highway about 1 mile, and then the school would be on the left-hand side, so he would have to cross the highway to get to the school.
I am right next to Spirit Lake Elementary, where Johnson's son will be walking every day, and using the school crosswalk. Even when I turned on those warning lights, waited and looked both ways, drivers either didn't notice the lights. I had one driver who, as I was crossing, didn't stop until they were inches from that crosswalk.
We moved our son back to our local school so that he could ride the bus.
New Superintendent Rusty Taylor sent a statement saying the district needed to cut $500,000 of the transportation budget. That's even though voters approved a May levy of more than $7 million. Taylor says that was $2 million shy of what the district originally asked for in the failed November levy. Johnson, a college student herself, says this leaves her no options at all.
Right now, we are in talks of possibility of me taking a brief leave of absence, which would put me a year behind on school.
A choice she'll make to get her son safely back to school.
Think of, the little kids walking with no sidewalks in some areas in, negative 17-degree weather or 3 foot of snow. It affects us more than it affects the other schools.
Shannon Mowdy, KREM 2 News.
Well, because of the high winds expected tonight, the Kendall Yards Night Market has been canceled. Organizers say with gusts up to 30 miles per hour, it's just not safe for tents or the products that vendors have to put out. The night market is scheduled to happen again coming up next Wednesday. And if you think Spokane felt smoky today, you're certainly not alone, and there's a reason for that. The Bear Gulch fire burning on the Olympic Peninsula over on the west side is sending smoke all the way our way. At this hour, that fire has burned more than 6,000 acres. But Spokane's Regional Clean Air Agency says the smoke isn't anything to worry about, at least at this point.
So sometimes it can not look so great out there, but if the pollutants remain above us in the upper atmosphere, then air quality isn't necessarily affected. So sometimes it looks worse than it is.
Spokane sitting in the moderate category. That means the air quality is acceptable, but maybe moderate health concern for people who are particularly sensitive to pollution. If you want to check the air quality where you live, just head to SpokaneCleanAir.org. And if you want to see that full interview with the Spokane Regional Clean Air Agency, just download the KREM 2 Plus app and watch for free on your TV. In other news, a Toppenish man has been sentenced to more than 16 years in federal prison for shooting at law enforcement. In 2024, 26-year-old Leland James Viharo stole 13 firearms from his brother. 2 days later, police say Viharo fired a stolen gun at officers after fleeing a traffic stop and barricading himself in a home. He hit 2 patrol cars before surrendering. Idaho Attorney General Raul Labrador has launched Operation Robocall Roundup, a national crackdown on illegal robocalls. Labrador says it's time to cut off the networks enabling these illegal calls. He says, quote, Idahoans are sick of scammers targeting their families through illegal robocalls. He and 50 other attorneys general are warning 37 telecom providers to stop routing scam calls or face action. These companies have ignored federal rules meant to block robocallers and protect consumers. An additional 99 downstream providers are also being alerted that they are doing business with non-compliant carriers. Well, nearly a week after a motorcyclist hit and killed 59-year-old Spokane County Sheriff Sgt Ken Solaces, Sheriff John Knowles is sharing more about how the department is coping with the loss. KREM 2's Regan Gallo was live at the Spokane County Public Safety Building tonight with more on what the sheriff had to say today. Regan?
Well, Mark, today was really an opportunity for reflection for the entire Spokane County Sheriff's Office as they're working hard behind the scenes to honor Sgt Ken Solaces and his 30 years of service for Spokane County and additional years of service for the Washington Air National Guard. Now, those who are just learning about Sgt Ken Solaces, he died in the hospital Saturday, August 9th after he was struck by a motorcyclist on I-90 when he was helping to get a hay bale off the freeway after it had fallen off of a vehicle. Authorities reported this happened around 7:40 a.m. in the morning near the Four Lakes exit. The sergeant was only 30 shifts away from retirement. I asked Sheriff John Knowles that since this happened on I-90, that is normally the traffic hazard would be under Washington State Patrol's authority, but Sheriff said Sergeant Solace was just beginning his shift and it was always in his character to help where he could.
Ken was probably the most mild-mannered, even-tempered person you could ever hope to meet. He did what he did without a lot of fanfare. He was there for people all the time, inside and outside the agency.
Spokane County Sheriff John Knowles also told the media that this is the first member of Spokane County Sheriff's Office that has died in the line of duty in the past 22 years. The Sheriff's Office says there is a memorial fund for Sgt Ken Solaces through Canopy Credit Union. Donated money will go directly to help cover memorial service expenses, with all remaining funds going directly to the Solace family. Now, as the community continues to mourn Sgt Ken Solaces, more flowers have been placed at the Law Enforcement Memorial that is just right outside the Public Safety Building. And the Sheriff's Office tells me they are planning some type of celebration or memorial, but it is a large undertaking and they have a lot to get through to get it organized. I'm reporting in Spokane, Regan Gallo, KREM 2 News.
All right, Regan, thank you very much. And KREM 2 has reached out to Washington State Patrol. So far, they have not released any new information about the investigation. There is still a lot more to come on KREM 2 News at 5 tonight, including an Idaho firefighter injured last summer, how he is doing now, and he has brand new information about the case.